To the uninitiated, Bridgend might seem like a rugby town with a near constant production line of international stars such as JPR Williams, Rob Howley, Gavin Henson, Josh Navidi, the list can go on and on. But things are changing. Despite never playing in the top flight of Welsh football, Bridgend Town have quite a rich history. They're two-time Welsh Cup semi-finalists, but in 2006, Asda bought Coitchurch Road, their home ground, for £3 million, rendering the club homeless. Meanwhile, on the other side of town was Bryntirion Athletic, who had a permanent home at Bryntirion Park. But in 2011, they won the second tier and were denied promotion to the top flight due to licensing restrictions. So, following that, the idea was proposed for both clubs to merge and form one club that could represent Bridgend in the top flight of Welsh football.
I think you look at it in different ways. I mean, from a footballing perspective, it's obviously very, very sensitive. Fans are tribal, there's a big rivalry, you can't see Liverpool and Everton merging, or Manchester United and Manchester City. So I get, not that I'm suggesting that we're anywhere near that status, but you get that these things are pretty sensitive and emotional.
When you form a new club with a new name and no one can connect with that at first, it's still a very hot topic over a pint amongst a few. Barriers are going down a little bit more now as time is going on.
This has to be a merger of equals. Neither club can be seen as dominant if it's going to work and if it's going to be carried. So therefore we had to take the decision to change the name. The name had to be realistically something that wasn't identifiable with either of the two clubs. Hence we ended up with Penybont, the Welsh for Bridgend. I think most fans get it. They may emotionally still think I want to be Bridgend or I want to be Bryntirion. And I think if you roll forward 10 years, you can see what's been achieved, both in terms of the facility that we have here and also in terms of what's been achieved on the field and where the club has gone.
3 years after the clubs merged, Rhys Griffiths took over as manager. Rhys, a Cymru Premier legend as a player, scored tons of goals, won Golden Boots, won Welsh Cups, but it was his first managerial job, relatively untested. But after 3 seasons, Rhys led Penybont to the promised land, the Cymru Premier, for the first time in the town's history. Bridgend had a club in the Cymru Premier.
It's just a tier step up. But I think people can take a step back and say, yeah, you know what, that's what they said they wanted to do, they've now done it. I think that was a pretty pivotal moment for us, and that was probably 3 or 4 years after the merge.
Pretty quickly, Penybont were competing in the top half of the table, and in 2022, they found themselves in the Welsh Cup final for the first time ever.
To actually find your own little hometown club playing in the final was great. I think it galvanised the town. I think there was probably 3,000 or 4,000 at the stadium, and I think 95% were supporting Penybont.
They had an absolutely amazing day. It was a typical family cup final day where the people of Bridgend did turn up for the final, and they even organised their own ultra march and joined us one to the stadium, which was brilliant for them.
As Penybont, people are starting to see Bridgend as a footballing town, whereas previously it always been rugby. I think all of a sudden we've done a little bit to not just redress the balance, but give the town something to be proud of. You've gone from the Welsh Cup and play in Europe, and again, it's another stimulus.
In 2023, after a few near misses, Penybont had finally done it. After finishing 3rd in the Cymru Premier, European football would come to Bridgend for the first time ever.
The build-up to it was absolutely immense, and the amount of work behind the scenes to get it on and to have it in Bridgend.
That was probably our primary goal. That was the last step on the first hurdle in that sense, was to get to Europe. So having got there, having seen how people embraced it, you sort of feel, well, this is what we need to be aiming for year in, year out. That's got to be the ambition. So again, part of this external review is trying to identify how do we make that not a one-off, but rather a one-off when we don't. And it was an interesting time.
Penybont are now firmly established in the Cymru Premier, and they've already created a lot of history for a club that's just over 10 years old, and a fan base that's growing. People young and old are coming to the SDM Glass Stadium and creating a unique atmosphere. Penybont FC really are representing the town of Bridgend like a football team has never done before.